Of course, it's week 18, and one thing that's gotten popular down the years is it's sort of like contract incentive week. It's the sort of last chance for a lot of these players, skill position players, to hit targets that are built into their contracts. Is this something, I don't know how to phrase this question, but is this something you're buying into if you are going to bet player props for the week or anything like that?
100%.
Yeah,
it absolutely is. And the cool thing about the internet these days is you don't need to, go on to OddsShark, find your resources. Someone else is doing this work for you where they're digging through these contracts and they're finding you these incentives. And it matters. One, from a motivation standpoint. Chris Jones, for instance, this guy can make $1.25 million if he gets one sack this week. You don't think that's going to make Chris Jones study the tape for the offensive lineman that he's going up against? You don't think he's going to have a little more juice in the fourth quarter if he doesn't have that sack yet? It absolutely matters. And then motivation angle aside, how about a game planning angle, especially if you're in a situation where the game doesn't matter for the playoffs. If a quarterback, let me use a real example, for instance. Dalton Schultz, 4 catches, he gets an extra $250,000. 6 catches, he gets an extra $500,000. Okay? Of course, for the Texans, winning is going to come first, especially in a big game like that. But let's say they're up 2 touchdowns, or they're down 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and they got no chance of coming back. That matters. These guys are friends. CJ Stroud is going to want to hook his buddy up. These players absolutely know these things going into the game. By the way, Dalton Schultz 3 times this year has had 6 catches or more. So this is very much in play. So I would encourage people to know what these incentives are. Ask yourself how realistic they are. Because on these lists, you might see so-and-so needs, 210 rushing yards. That doesn't excite me so much. Are they realistic? And in game script wise, will there be an opportunity for them to hit those marks? But yeah, I think for people that like to parlay these things together, even though at the top of the show, I'm not a big parlay guy, this is one of those rare times where I believe you have an edge on these incentives. So this would be a time where if you want to parlay some of these player props together, I think that's a fine idea.
Nick from the OddsShark staff will have an article on this topic either today, we're recording this on a Wednesday, or tomorrow on Thursday, so keep your eyes peeled for that. There's other dudes out there that, will be looking at this week. A guy like Baker Mayfield, who's already earned $1 million in playing time incentives, that apparently could double with a trip to the playoffs. There's $300,000 each if he finishes in the top 10 in the NFL or top 5 in NFC in multiple quarterback categories like passer rating, TD passes, passing yards, completion percentage, yards per pass attempt. So that will be, that's interesting. Like with a dude like that has this incentive-laden contract, but also quarterbacking a team to potentially get to the postseason. Do you think he has sort of an eye on those incentives, even in a close game?
I think for something like that, for a quarterback that's already making, a lot of money, it might be a little
bit different.
A little bit different in that situation. But let's go back to, we saw this play out with Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. We all knew what the incentives were going into the game. We all saw Tom Brady forcing the ball to Rob Gronkowski. I wish I remember what year this was. It was a couple years ago. And the way they celebrated after they hit that milestone and Gronk got money, there's no doubt in anybody's mind. So these things happen. I don't think you'll ever catch a player on camera admitting that they put these incentives ahead of their team winning the game, but it's there. They know these things going in. Their agents are reminding them of it before the game, I'm sure, if it's somehow not on their radar already. So yeah, it matters.
Clowney, $750,000 bonus for 9 sacks. He's going into the week with 8.5. Devin Singletary, he's got a lot of work to do, but currently at 835 rushing yards. If he gets $125,000. Chris Jones, $1.25 million for 10 sacks. He's at 9.5. So make sure you check out that article on OddsShark when it comes, because there's going to be a lot of dudes looking for some potential big paydays if they hit these milestones here.
I got a couple more for you. Odell Beckham, if he plays, the Ravens may be resting players, but 5 catches for another $250,000. Austin Eckler, 110 yards for 100 grand. So these things matter. But